I just did a 10-minute TikTok for yous on TikTok bananaed it. It didn't save its drafts. It's just gone. I have to do it again. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about banishing powders and salts again. So first of all, I am absolutely exhausted tonight, right? So I doubt this TikTok is going to be any different to the last TikTok I did. Bear with me. Bear with me, okay? So powders and salts are great for the more stubborn entities and spirits in the home that don't want to go. Like the tricksters we talked about when you do spell work and things like that, and they're like, oh, I'm not here anymore, but they're hiding over in the corner, right? Powders and salts are great for dealing with these. So in the last TikTok, I threw up a few herbs that you can put in your banishing salts and banishing powders. There are so many more. There's so much you can use in banishing. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't fit it all in. I just threw up a few. But as you progress on, you're going to be like, oh wow, there's this. Oh wow, there's this. Pulling them from all over the place, okay? So I'm going to show you a banishing powder that I use. Now, my banishing powder is toxic. Of course it is. You do not have to have a toxic banishing powder just because I have a toxic banishing powder, okay? This, I'm just showing you, this is an example, okay? Yours does not have to be like this. This is mistletoe and aconite, amongst other things that I won't be telling you about, okay? So the wee X's on top of it is for when Lola's out here going, no, what am I going to take? There's an X on top of that, I've got to be careful. It means it is toxic. So I would use this banishing powder. I do not sell this on my shop, obviously, because it's toxic and somebody is going to get hurt, and guess who'll get the blame? That's right, me. But I do, when I'm working with someone, I will supply this in conjunction with certain spell works. Once I know the person has more than one brain cell in their head and can follow my instructions, I will give them this in conjunction with the spell work that I'm doing, okay? But you're not going to be able to go into the shop and buy this. This is mine, right? Toxic banishing powder is for outside in the open air, okay? That's where it's going to be put. It is not going to be used in the home, in the workplace, or wherever it is you want rid of the spirit entity / person, okay? It is not for indoors, of course, being toxic. You're also not going to touch with your skin any toxic powders. You're going to put gloves on. I supply it in a little brown envelope, or you're going to just shake it where it needs to go, right? No enclosed spaces, no skin touchy, right? Okay. However, you can just make a banishing powder with rosemary. That can be used in the house, okay? That can be used in the doorway. And if it's not toxic, you can use breath work with it as well, which basically means you can touch it, you can get it in your hand. There's an entity in this room, it's stubborn and it won't go, so I can stand at the door, hold it in my hand and blow it in, okay? So there's not much difference between a powder and a salt, to be honest. They both do the same thing. They're both going to banish, right? So the reason why the difference between a salt and a powder is much more covert, okay? And you need to be covert when you're working against a person, right? So a powder can be sent airborne as long as it's not toxic, right? You can send it airborne. So that person is breathing it in. And yes, I know people are going to come with their morals and go, they could have an allergic reaction. Sometimes in witchcraft, you just don't care, okay? You just don't. I'm sorry. There you go. You want rid of the person, you're going to get rid of the person, right? So a banishing salt is brilliant for salting the corners of your room. So when we talked about the mirror and you're going around the house and you're doing every corner, when you want to banish, you would salt all the bottom corners. You don't even have to do the top, but you're going to rub the salt into every corner in your house, okay? So how it works is when you use the powder or when you use the salt, you are literally making the environment unwelcome or even toxic to the person, the entity, or the spirit that is within it. So, you know, I would recommend when you're working on a really stubborn one that you powder or salt every couple of days, every 2 or 3 days. Keep the air, keep the energy toxic, okay? Drive them out, make them so sick they don't want to be there, right? Banishing salts and powders can also be put into charm bags. There's a million different ways to use them. You can make like a banishing bomb, which is literally a little charm bag. It is banishing salt or banishing powder wrapped up in a little charm bag, left somewhere, okay? So say you have a guest, your cousin moved into your house and they won't go. You're going to hide it in their room, okay? So they are going to just be so uncomfortable and feel so unwelcome in their room. They just want to go, right? When you are working, say it's a neighbour, you want to get it across the entryway, right, to the threshold to the home or the business. You want to put it on the threshold, so they have to pass in and out, activating the toxicity, the negative energy, and the spell work of the banishing powder or salt, okay? And that's where the powder comes in and is a bit different to the salt. The salt is heavy and is much more noticeable than the powder. So, you know, the powder's better when you have to be a little bit more covert about it, you know. If you are new to making salts and new to making powders, there is no need to try and do what I do and make them toxic AF. Do you know what I mean? Be safe always, and start off with simpler things like red clover or rosemary, so on and so forth. The more experience you get, the more you'll be able to add into it, okay? And all witches are different. So if you try and copy my one, it may not work for you. Aconite and mistletoe are two of my good allies. That's why I work well with it, okay? So whatever you work well with, that's what you want to use. Do you get me? So it really is all about the bond that you have built with your allies as well. Salts are actually really good. I was forgetting to mention. You can make a banishing salt, okay? Obviously not toxic, but that is great if you need to banish from your person. So you can have a spiritual bath with banishing salts to help rid yourself of attachments, okay? I might go into things you can use in the bath to banish in another one, another TikTok, because I think I could do a whole TikTok on that as well. So there you go, salts and powders. Hope it helped, and I hope TikTok does not banana this one on me because I'm not doing it again. Okay? Okay.